Present.
Here. Commissioner Lovett.
Present.
Commissioner Melly.
Here.
Commissioner Phelan.
Present.
Commissioner Stojek.
Here.
Commissioner Turner.
Here.
City Manager Gager.
Here. Thank you. 4A, communications, the Shade Drain Drainage District. It's a letter from the County Drain Commissioner, Bob Wiley, notifying us that they will be spraying for phragmites along the Shade Drain along Marine City Highway to King Road, from King Road and Marsh all the way down to Bell River Road. That is our only communication this evening.
Make a motion to accept and file communications.
Support. Motion and support. Discussion?
Yes, I wondered, there are some phragmites throughout our city, and this phragmites are really an invasive species that I am very glad that they're taken care of the way they are along St. Clair County. But I wonder if there's some way we could perhaps form a consortium or work with them. There are spots, for example, at the end of Degursey, there's a large phragmite colony growing there that is never touched by any of the mowing that goes on. I know there are other sections in the city, so I don't know if there's anything that can be done. It was just a suggestion to maybe we can look into. I know that Mr. Gaber looked into what Clay Township offers, and it's really quite expensive. But I just wondered if through the Drain Commission you might get a bargain somewhere.
Take a look at it.
That's
Okay.
all.
Anything else? All in favor of approving the communications, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carries. Next, we have public comment. Residents are welcome to address the City Commission. Please state your name, address, and keep your comments to 5 minutes. Anyone? Reverend Lepley?
Good evening, Becky Lepley, 539 North William. And I'd just like to give you the information and the good word on our upcoming Heritage Day, our first Heritage Day, October 6, 2012, from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. At Old City Hall. And the closer it gets, the more excited I'm getting about it. And we're starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll be having an opening ceremony, and the VFW is going to provide some veterans from West Marine and Newport, which became Marine City, and that ceremony is being planned along with guns and the raising of the flag and so forth and so on, and also the time capsule. And we have invited, believe it or not, we have 8 living mayors, including the current one, and they have all been invited as honored guests to help inter that capsule, and I hope that we'll be able to gather them all. That would be a great thing. But it's going to be a fun-filled day, and I really want to give you some time. I see some beards and mustaches started for some of the contests for best costume, and the era that we are focused on is 1880 to 1910. And that way we can include the Cottrell car, which was bought from Sears and Roebuck in 1910. And we have that car and a horse and wagon and a horse and buggy that will be making a circuit through the town and going up to the museum and Quilting Dreams, and allowing that, of course, is that particular ride is going to cost a few bucks. And the event itself is free, but there will be many opportunities to donate towards our project. And of course, our goal, every cent that we raise goes to the refurbishment and continued maintenance of 300 Broadway, and also to educating people about it as we have begun to delve into its rich history. And we're very, very excited about that. The Civil War governor and his wife will be there to help us with the interment. There's going to be groups scheduled all day, including the Blue Water Double Brass Quintets, Pippin Puppets, Time Capsule, the Interfaith Choir, a group called Lost Cousins, and Larry B. Massey, who is an award-winning Michigan historical storyteller who's going to educate us a little bit on our own town. And we also have a couple of snake oil salesmen, Dulcimer Group, and some very, very interesting and creative things, and a lot of displays and demonstrations on the first floor of the building. And I would really like to thank John and the DPW and the other city employees because they have been a tremendous help in getting things done in a timely way and getting the building in a usable fashion for this event, which we hope to have the first Saturday of October every year. And again, there will be a beard and mustache contest, not necessarily the longest, but the best beard and mustache. Longest hair, Rudy Menchaca says he's going to enter that contest. Best costume. But we are looking for somebody who would be willing to take all comers in an arm wrestling booth. And if you would be interested in that or think that you could handle that, maybe Diane could do that for. Oh, that's right, you're in charge of the children's activities. And that's very exciting, what's going on for the children and the use of the facility. And does anybody have any questions? I know usually we ask for questions when we're actually getting the permit, but if you have anything, give me some time and I'll find out any answers to any questions that you might have.
Will there be, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Will there be any building tours after the open house a few weeks ago? Some people missed it and asked if
Yes,
there'd
and
be
in
additional-
fact, we'll do tours anytime.
Okay.
You know, you give us a call. We've had the Boy Scouts through there. We've had, the one at the Christmas thing, we had, almost 200 people went through the building and came from many miles to see it. And yes, there will be tours that day. Every time we get 12 people to sign up for a tour, we'll have one. And we have some people that are going to be in charge of that. And we're excited about that. And of course, you know that we have 3 registered with the Beyond the Veil Ghosts, which we will be glad to acquaint you with, that are happy that we're there. They are benevolent, happy ghosts, and we're very glad to know that. We're looking for that. Yes?
Did you get any other additions to the time capsule?
At this point in time, somebody is, can I finish answering that question?
I'll extend so you can
Yeah.
answer, yes.
We have a box being made. I think Ray is in on that. And the additions, it doesn't have to be very big because the addition, along with Gene Buell's book, is a very tiny, the thingamajig you stick in the side of the computer.
Flash drive.
Yeah, before they started working in the building, we had 500 pictures taken of every detail you might imagine. So we're going to have a flash drive put in there with all those pictures on it. And there's a chip being provided by Pride and Heritage Museum that's going to go in there also. And we're kind of counting on the fact that when it's open, they will have electricity and be able to, use those. Some of us were saying, if you had an 8-track tape, nobody has anything to play it on now. We're hoping that they'll be able to decipher that. But that's the suggestions that we got and what are in the plans at this point in time. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Helps a little bit to have a problem.
I'm guessing that's not soup.
Pardon?
I'm guessing that's not soup.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis Morris, 1098 West Boulevard. This right here is what I look at every day. It's actually cleaner and really looks better now than it has all summer. We had this big rain, and this washed my ditch out. In Michigan, there's 128 cases of West Nile disease, 8 deaths. In the United States, there's over 580 cases with 80 deaths. Since improvements to my ditch, I've had more water than ever before. Besides mosquitoes, I have frogs, snakes, and even seen a rat the other day. And once again, I live in the city. The ditch has had water in it all year long. even with all this drought and everything. I've had as low as probably 8 inches of water in there, up to probably 16 inches, 2 feet. Down by the bike path, over there behind the county building, it's dry. This is where the ditch empties. So we're not getting any water movement at all. My dog got in a ditch the other day. After a thorough cleaning for about 15, 20 minutes, I couldn't let her in the house for 2 days because of the stench. The ditch drains down Plank Road. It comes out on West Boulevard and into Bell River. Down in the rural part on Plank Road, there's pigs and cows. With livestock, you have feces, which farmers also use for fertilizer in the fields, that have run off into the ditches. And where does it lay? In front of the houses on West Boulevard. Well, mowing my lawn the other day, I just went by the edge of it. I got a X-Mark lawnmower, the back wheel barely touched. Within a second, I had spun around, went backwards into the ditch. Ditch is roughly, I'd say, about 6 foot deep there, 5, 6 foot deep. And I was in water probably up to my knees. Naturally, when this happens, it's about the busiest time for people on West Boulevard. All my friends, people I know, they go by pointing, laughing, blowing their horn. They think it's funny. I'll tell you, it scared the heck out of me. And then, thanks Ray Hahn, I don't know if you guys know him, people know Ray Hahn. He came by, pulled on my front lawn, and had to pull me out of the ditch with a pickup. Does the commission and city manager really care about the health and safety of its constituents? Okay, my grandkids come over to the house and play. Would you want your grandkids, your children, or anybody out there with an ungodly amount of mosquitoes around? In good faith, could you let your kids out there, grandkids, play? Let alone your animals or dogs, whatever you might have. What are you going to do about this? I hear all the time, we'll look at it and we'll let you know. Well, I want to know who we is and who's accountable for this, to let something like this go on in a city. When the ditch is so close to the road now, when they open it up more, you probably got 2 to 3 feet at some spots where it's right next to the road. You'd have to step in the ditch to actually get away from cars. You've got kids going to school. It's going to get later out at night, in the morning, where it's going to be dark. You got people riding bikes, pedestrians. I also had the lady just moved in. She tried to take her 2 kids for a bike ride down the bike path. She had to walk the kids. They're about 5 and 7 years old, naturally, but she walked them all the way down to the bike path to 6th Street in order to take her kids on a bike outing. The ditch at one time ran directly a straight line right down West Boulevard, underneath 6th Street, right out to Bell River. It seemed to be adequate enough that it still had water in it, but not like it does now. Now they redid the ditch a little bit. It runs down West Boulevard to roughly, I think it's about 11th Street, 10th Street, and it goes north about a half mile. It comes out behind the City Road Commission, and it goes underground from there. If you go back there, there is no water in that ditch at all. The water's not even getting that far.
Time.
Well,
Mr.
did I
Morris.
lose some time on carrying that
Well,
out there?
I'm sorry, 5 minutes, but Mr. Morris, I will say this, we did do something for you, and I kind of resent the fact that you say we'll look into it and let you know. We did get on it. I worked very hard on that with you. We did clean it out, and this is the first I've heard that you're still having a problem.
Well,
So,
don't you go up and down West Boulevard at all?
I do, and I look in that ditch on a frequent basis. I haven't seen the water, but you haven't called me to tell me that anything was
Okay.
different.
If you wanna
And-
find
and the-
Phragmites, go
and then
down
the
there
other
too.
thing I will add is that is a county drain, and we have spoken about this repeatedly. The city is not responsible for that drain. It is a county property there. And I strongly suggest you contact the county drain commissioner, Bob Wiley.
Okay, can I ask you one question?
Yes, sir.
If we have some, if I have property in the city and my lawn's not mowed, I got a letter from the city, it wasn't even my property. Now, what the city does is they can either write you a ticket or they'll fix it and charge you for it.
Yes.
Okay, how about doing the same thing to the county?
That's not how it works.
Why?
Because of the way the laws work, sir. We can't go and fix county roads and charge them back. We can't go and fix state roads and charge them back. We can't go and fix county drains and charge them back.
How
That's
can
not
you
the way
come
it
on my
works.
yard and mow my lawn and charge me for it?
Because it's not state or government owned, sir. You've got my number. You're welcome to call. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to,
You would have to step to the podium, please.
as for his information,
That's fine.
Rita Roig, I just wanted to say, Charles, that for your information, if this gentleman wishes to, he can petition the county and enclose his drain, but it means
Right.
that there's cost to the homeowner.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I can just come to the drain
Anyone else that would like to address the commission? Hearing none, we'll move on.
Could we remove that?
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
I can. Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Thank you. Commissioner Tree.
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
We have a motion, we have a motion and support.
That was real quiet.
Any additions, deletions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next is approval of the minutes of the city commission regular meeting, August 16, 2012.
I move that we accept the minutes of the city commission meeting of August 16th, 2012.
Support.
Motion and support, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the city commission minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carries. Next, we have the consent agenda. We have the planning commission meeting minutes from May 14, 2012. We have the Tifa minutes from July 17, 2012. A business license for Intellichem LLC at 887 Chartier, which is a blending business. And
Potentially heavy water user.
and a very heavy water user, yes. And a business license for Good Natured Gardens at 229 Broadway Street. And that is going to be a retail store for miscellaneous, I'll call them foo-foo items because Jackie will let me. And that is what we have.
I move we accept the consent agenda.
Support.
We have motion and support. Also, Good Natured Gardens will be opening the 17th of this month. Motion and support, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Carries. Next, we have new business. Awarding of a bid for the Marine City Library lawn sprinkler system installation.
I move that we accept the bid from Marine City Library Lawn Sprinkler System.
Do I have support? We'll go into discussion.
Support.
We have motion and support. Mr. Gaber.
Yes. 8 packages went out for this. We know 3 people talked to us about it. Obviously, one sent a bid back in, the other 2 didn't. So the fact that there's a single bid here doesn't mean we didn't try, but we physically mailed 8 packages out. And we got a response back from 3, and 2 out of the 3 that we actually got a response, phone response back from didn't bother to bid it anyway, so. That's all I can tell you. I mean, we use local people. I mean, we can start expanding the area, but we try to use people that were local to us as much as possible. It was advertised as well, but we did send physically 8 packages.
Where in the budget is this coming in?
This belongs to
didn't
the
see
library. This is a library fund budget.
Oh, I didn't see it in the last budget. So
Yeah,
was that-
they have that, they have a funding source in the library, and that's where this comes from.
All right.
Anyone else? Okay, no other comment. All in favor of awarding the bid for the sprinkler system to St. Clair Landscape and Irrigation the amount of $5,890.50. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Let's water the lawn. Next, we have removal of fees from a delinquent account.
This is a housekeeping issue that Mary Ellen needs to clean up. That's all, I mean, that's all it is she wants to get it off the books, and it's strictly a housekeeping issue, so, but the board has to approve it. So.
Right. And this is a resolution approving the removal of fees on delinquent accounts related to property cleanup invoices.
I move that we accept the resolution approving the removal of fees on delinquent accounts related to the property cleanup invoices.
Support. We have a motion and
And it was a
support.
wrong address type deal. is
Right.
what it was.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the resolution, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carries. Wow, we're at 11B. Does anybody need a break? Disbursements including payroll and bond payment of $1,436,683.83.
I move that we accept the disbursements, including payroll and bond payment of $1,436,683.83.
Do I have a second?
Support.
Motion is support, discussion. Commissioner Hendrick.
Several questions. What is this duplicate payment to this CoreLogic real estate? What was that?
So what now?
It's CoreLogic, it's on page, I don't know, page 3. We had a bunch of refunds due to duplicate summer tax payments.
Oh, it probably was due to any adjustment in property values, and that might be the management company for it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And I don't know that's exactly what it is, but that's typically.
Typically, that's what CoreLogic
what-
is.
Yeah.
I noticed on page 7, we're still doing the water monitor. Is that the same water monitoring service that we
Yes,
put in there?
yes.
Okay,
It's the one that's funded through the water bills,
okay.
yeah.
Page 13, I see the police department bought 150 patches at $455. Are we having a run on patches?
On page
13.
13, oh, excuse me. Oh, wait a minute, 10, 12, 13, what? Switch to the other one. Okay, what are we looking at now, I'm sorry?
The uniform, the 150 MCDPD patches at $455. We got a run on those?
Some of those were we've had a turnover in part-time officers, but they usually batch them because they're cheaper by the batch, and then they have them in hand. So that it's not like something that happens every time an officer changes, but they probably ran out from the last batch, and they just, my
new
wife
ones?
just ordered something, he had to order a block of 100 or better for to beat the setup cost, so that's typically what it is.
Okay. The last one, it looks like, are we done paying the Monahan Company? There's one on page 19 for $149,000 here.
No, I mean, it's gonna be an ongoing thing, we're done for where we are in the project phase right now, like 148 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the invoice for the exterior, which basically finished up that. Once they start the carpenter work and the windows and that, we're gonna see some other
Oh,
stuff come in, but
All right.
that's just an ongoing invoice for the exterior.
That's all, thanks.
Anything else?
Just a question on the office supplies, the paper. We bought like $1,600 worth of paper. How often do we do that?
Usually, what,
That's
once
like
a year?
one-time
Once a
purchase
year, yeah, yeah.
for all the departments?
And then what they look at is how much is left over from last year, and then they make the adjustment, so it's usually a one-time purchase.
No, it's just a lot of paper. I just wonder how many times we do that.
You're having paper airplane
I
flights.
don't, I think it's only once since I've been here that we've had to go order some extra, because we cut it kind of close, but normally, we have a few boxes left, and we just carry it forward.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hendrick,
No.
Commissioner Lovett,
Yes.
Commissioner Millie,
No.
Commissioner Phelan,
Yes.
Commissioner Squartajik?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. City managers report, please.
I don't know if you've driven over to South Bridge, but you see the lighting is gone. We couldn't stop that when we changed the timing. Edison already had it in the program, so they ripped it out. It was their lightings. I did see the draft bid proposal for the bridge, though. The timing looks like it's basically holding to February of next year. They're getting ready for it to go out for a let. The pricing that, the estimates, both MDOT's estimate and Rose estimate, Rose is a little bit less than the MDOT one because they use some standard pricing formulas. But they're on target for what we expected to see right now. So all I can say is that at the Scotts meeting, all of the projects that have been happening north of us, the pricing has been coming in better than expected, better than the engineering estimates. So I don't see any big surprises coming to us right now, okay, with regards to that project. In addition to that, next week I'm going after some additional Scotts money to mill and resurface Water Street from, well, it'll be Bridgeview and Water Street, that whole section, sometime next spring. So, and that was one of the reasons I was looking at where the total costs are, because I know we're gonna be a little tight in our major road fund, but it looks like we're gonna be able to handle it based on what we see right now. So that'll, with the bridge going in and then that paving project going in and Broadway streetscape in and some other stuff, it'll look good. It'll start looking good there. Homeland Security, Emergency Management will be doing some resource typing in the next couple of months, and that's basically throughout St. Clair County. What they're going to be looking for are 16 national categories. They're going to be trying to type all of the equipment that we have available. That includes fire, police, DPW, volunteers, what have you. They're trying to put a database together for St. Clair County so that if we truly had a major emergency in a large section of the county, that they would know what resources are available to pull that direction, what have you. There was some federal funding that was available for that. The final audit for our last fiscal year will start on September 26th through the 28th. They're typically here 2 to 3 days. We've already had the pre-data that they've taken out. They usually analyze that and then they come back and look for some specifics for the audit. I've been reviewing the new EVAP program for 2013. I'll make sure that we're in compliance. The first milestone date is October, and it's something we're already in compliance with from what I can tell, but we're still receiving our EVAP payments, and that's in lieu of the statutory revenue sharing. So we'll continue to make progress towards getting those payments. We did the first grant disbursement from the Candace Miller grant. The money should be in the bank maybe tomorrow, Monday at the latest, with electronic transfer. But we finally finished all the paperwork, got everything set up, and the last invoice, that 148, something that was in the packet, is actually being funded through that grant. I want to use that grant up before the end of the year. I should be able to do that, so they can close the books on it and we can close the books on that part of it. And sometime towards the end of next week, I believe it's the 13th, 14th, and maybe the week after, 2 days, you're going to see a lot of activity around the fire station. They're going to use this location, one of these bays, to reband all of the radios in the south end of St. Clair County. It's a Homeland Security government-funded deal. We have to do it based on some
FCC.
On the FCC, some new changes they made for that, but we're going to be using this facility. So you may see a lot of different police cars, fire trucks, ambulances, whatever coming through here, but that's what it's about. And then with that, that's my report.
Commissioner privilege, anyone?
Go ahead.
Commissioner Levitt?
Sure. Okay. It really is greatly appreciated that we've been able to obtain as many grants as we have in the past and still are working with some. But it seems that we also are missing a lot of opportunity to get other grants. I noted in the TIFA minutes, I believe it was TIFA, or Planning Commission, I'm sorry, a FEMA grant to move perhaps get the new fire alarm systems going and things like that. And we don't have the personnel to do that. City Manager Gabor certainly has done a number of grants in the past, but again, it takes a lot of work to work on grants. And so perhaps there's a way we can look at some semi-funding, or look at part-time help, or look at volunteers. But it would be good to continue working on the possibility of getting grants. Our city has certainly been improved by the number of grants that we got for rental rehab and for the facade programs, et cetera. So just a comment. But, you know, try not to miss out on too many more opportunities. We had another great season with the summer concert series, and thank you again to Judy White and the Marine City Music Festival people with the final program this past Saturday with T.J. Thomas and Kentucky Straight, and I understand I missed the wonderful young man who was up there playing the drums with them too. But it's not over. We have a new season of the classical concert coming up that will be at the East China Performing Arts Center. And the first program is the Detroit Chamber Winds and Strings on Thursday, October 11th at 8 p.m. Tickets are available throughout town. And if it's anything like our last performance last year, we just had a one time with the performances at the PAC. They were sold out long before a lot of people realized they could get them. There's still a stack about that high. It's at the Sweet Tooth, so do get out and get your tickets. They're $25 for adults, $20 for children with ID. And then coming up later, tickets will be available later for them with Leonard Slatkin, the conductor for the Detroit Symphony, will be bringing the orchestra on Friday, January 11th. And on Saturday, May 11th, we have the Minneapolis Guitar Quartet. So don't miss out on this great opportunity that is going to be available in our city. And thank you to all of those who have made that possible. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll give a slight update on the 300 Broadway project. You didn't touch on too much there. There's been a delay in the windows. It's a couple-week delay. Probably won't see the first windows until second week of November. So there'll be another mobilization probably toward the end of October. He's going to try to get some of the trim work and other things done before the weather moves in on him. So you'll see, you know, the lifts and workmen coming back toward the end of October. I've had some people say, well, is that it? Is, you know, that it's all they're going to be? What did they do to the windows? So no, it's just on a little bit of a rest right now, and it's going to get all going again at the end of October. And then I got a PSA for anybody that travels I-94. and maybe you don't travel I-94 and you have friends that might be coming into town, but the exit 226 is closed. Ooh, and if you don't pay attention to the detour, you're going to St. Clair. Mm-hmm. So the good news is the entrance ramp for the is open. So, yeah. But coming home the other day, I didn't catch the detour signs, and it was a nice little detour.
Yeah, it was a nice little ride out to St. Clair, wasn't it?
Right. It was fast on that one as
me
they
too.
were on the one on the other side. It was only closed about a week.
Yeah, yeah, a couple weeks.
Back up again,
Yeah.
a week to 10 days.
But just so you know, if you have somebody coming into town, just make sure you tell them.
Yep.
I missed it the first time too, Ray. I came to work the other morning.
That's all I got.
Anyone else? Commissioner Melly.
As you may know, I'm involved with the Lions Club, and I told them, the guys, that I'm going to give them a plug. This coming September 22nd and 23rd, we have an Oktoberfest where we have beer and sorts of beer, and we'll have all the festivities that will go along. And Sunday the 23rd, there are going to be more for family, for kids and whatnot. And it's going to be a fun activity. And you got to understand, all our proceeds all go back to the citizens. It's a nonprofit organization, and we do have raffle tickets where we're offering off a cooler of a chair, a black powder rifle, and a 8-foot yard swing for raffle tickets. And it's just the idea that all the money just goes right back to the city for the citizens, and it's a good thing. And I told the guys that, hey, I'm gonna do what I can for you guys. And the other thing is, I know sometimes we have vandalism, and one of our signs on 26 Mile Road, I'm just asking if no questions asked, just replace the sign, bring it back to us so we can mount it back up with no questions asked. Sign does cost money, and it comes out of our funds that we're trying to promote our city, and it was on 26 Mile Road just before King Road. It was a nice size sign, and believe me, I'm not going to pursue if they just bring back the sign. There's no problem with that. The other thing I wanted to say is that I've been getting an alarm. There's things that's going on, and I just feel as though I want the board to be open-minded about considering our police department. That right now, Algonac is going with the sheriff department, and there's cost funds that we have to consider. Part of our job is to save money to the city. I wish everybody well, but there is a cost factor that I'm disturbed about. It just buying police cruisers, buying patches, buying other things, that was why I wanted to clarify my no vote. I feel as though that's a lot of money for patches and other things, that I feel as though if we went with the sheriff department, I believe that we can save thousands of dollars in the long run. But the other thing is, I want to propose, if we can put it on the ballot, let the people make the choice, instead of just saying, well, the council wants to do this or the council wants to do that. But I do want to be open-minded and have an open, so they can see the pros and the cons. Where we be saving money, where we won't be saving money, and let the citizens make the choice. And that's what I would like to do. I just feel as though that times are changing, and I feel as though that the policemen that are local, they wouldn't be out of their job because the sheriff department would be hiring them. So it's not like I'm putting them out of a job, but I just feel as though that we can have a more efficient police department and save the city a lot of money. And I just been getting feedback from the different citizens that's been calling me up on my phone, and they're concerned about different activities that have been going on, and they don't want the idea, say, that, look, if we don't mention it from the pulpit, then people are just going to forget about different situations. But the people are afraid. They don't want to speak at the pulpit. And I just want to have an opportunity whereas they can hear us, and if we can put it on the ballot, they have a possibility to go with the sheriff department. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Commissioner Hendrick.
It's very sad when people on commissions bash the public for bringing an issue before this commission. These are public meetings, and the public should be encouraged to bring up any issue to this board. They should not fear retribution for doing so, as Mr. Davis objected to at our last meeting. I encourage anyone who has an issue to speak freely at any public commission meeting. Sometimes it's good for an issue to be brought up at a meeting so that the whole community can hear and be made aware of any issue. There's nothing sinister or wrong with making the community aware. Public officials should always encourage it and not condemn anyone for doing so. I have turned in a list of issues, and I'm told things will be taken care of, and each month goes by, and I still have my list of issues. And you have to constantly request the issue to be resolved. And I'm tired of having to tell people that I'm working on it, and I am. I'm persistent, but these are people who have contacted the city and have gotten incomplete answers. So they come to me. And it takes time to get these issues resolved. Getting the grass cut at vacant homes is one of them. Why does it take months to get these cut? Why do you constantly get excuses? And I know the city manager said he was going to change this process next year, but what about this year? We've got 2.5 months of grass cutting to go. People should not have to put up with the vermin problem that these overgrown properties cause, not to mention how it looks in the community. Why can't we resolve it this year? People are turning in issues but getting no resolution or even a proper answer. That's not acceptable. We need to fix this process and give out any and all information when requested. Thorough research needs to be done on some of these issues. We need to put in place a process now, not next year. Now on that, I've got some other items that I'm wondering if we're going to be rediscussing. One is the fireworks ordinance going to be coming soon to the board?
Last time I talked to our attorney, he was still investigating what would really work and wouldn't work. I know I had one call this past week about a complaint about fireworks. We still have noise ordinance out there that we can enforce that on, so I would encourage anybody to call PD and they'll respond to that. And we can enforce some of that under a noise ordinance right now.
Okay. Is the water plant bids, is that still going on?
Yeah, in fact, we just opened them this morning, or this afternoon, and I haven't had a chance to sit down with Rick because he hasn't been in this week to make sure that they're apples to apples. That'll be on the next meeting.
I know there's been questions on the Scott Street truck issue, and I know I talked to Diana that there's some other things that cropped up about how that's being handled. Is that?
I don't know what other things you're referring to.
Well, that there was original order back in '86, I think it was, and then all of a sudden, a couple years ago, a sign went up saying the trucks could go through there without it going through the board.
No, I think the only thing that the trucks were always allowed to go through there. There was a weight limit on the trucks. The only thing that was added to the sign was the time that restricted their movement through that area, I believe.
But most of those trucks are over that limit.
Well, I didn't.
Okay. And I want to know if the firing range issue is going to come back up on the agenda.
If someone brings pertinent information, but we had a full discussion on it that evening, so.
Well, actually, we
Unless-
didn't have a full
No,
discussion.
actually, we did, and the city manager and the police chief agreed that it would not occur again. Changed the policy then and there, so unless there's pertinent information presented to me, I can't see any reason to put it back on the agenda.
I've got a whole pile of information that I've obtained,
Well,
and I
feel
think,
free to send it on over, I'll review it. If it looks like it's something new, then yes, we can certainly
well, I
look at
think
putting
we
it
owe
on the
answers
agenda.
to the public. I'm getting a lot of questions from the public, wanting to know why we're not giving them the answers on how this came about, why this happened.
Again, we discussed it that evening, we said, we found out how it came about, they were looking at saving money, they did it, they said they won't do it again, it's not happened again, the policy has been that they won't do it again. If there's something new, then present it to me and we will put it on the agenda, otherwise, we're not going to be rediscussing
Well, I
it.
thought you were gonna do a big investigation.
I did my investigation and I found that what was said that evening was true on both Mr. Dawes' side and
Well, I think
the other side,
all I'm saying
and
is,
I've made a couple phone calls, found that there was nothing more that needed to be done.
well, I made a lot of phone calls. And
Great,
it was a
give me
serious issue.
You're welcome
and
to
it needs
provide
to
me with
be-
some information, and I will
Can I finish?
review it, and I will determine whether it
I know you can't
warrants
call
coming
yourself
back
out
to
of
the
order,
agenda.
I just feel that the public has a right to hear all of it. So it needs to be put back on there. Now, the last thing I have is, one of the issues on my list of stuff for the houses, I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't think I'd want to have to live next to this house all summer long. It caught fire in the spring.
Is it the one over on,
It's on Alger. It took 6 months to get the grass cut. The porch here to me is a hazard. You can, I know this picture's small for all of you. You can tell that if anybody stepped on this porch, they would fall in it. One of the posts is totally missing on here. This is technically blight and a hazard. And the gentleman made phone calls on this. I then finally talked to the building inspector. He was notified a long time ago. Now he's trying to work to get, I believe, insurance money or something on this, but I think this is the type of issue, it should not take us all summer long when these people have to look at this. This is a perfect example right here. I wouldn't want to have to live next to that. And since it caught fire, I would think insurance purposes and everything else, there's got to be something we can do to button this house up, board it up, have the porch removed,
My
put it on the
understanding is
taxes.
that it is secure. The building official did look at that, and he also inspected the damage to the roof and that, and he doesn't feel it's a hazard the way it is right now, and the house is secure. We are trying to get some funding to do something different. That's his professional opinion. That's not hearsay, that's not anything. That was his professional opinion after he came back.
Most of these cases, when they burn like that, they're,
I'm
most of the
just
people
telling you
immediately.
what I was told by our professional.
He told me
Okay.
the same thing, but looking at this porch, if somebody went up on that and fell in through it, I'm sorry to say, that's not safe.
Well, I'm just,
Man.
from the picture, you can't probably tell whether it's safe or unsafe.
Well, I went over and looked at the house. Well, I think,
Can we just board it up? I'm sorry.
well, the issue is that.
My understanding is that it's secure, because Brian told me it was secure. So I don't know, when we say boarded up, why, I mean, if the windows are all closed and locked and they're not open, why would we do anything to board it up?
Okay, it's,
I mean, we just wouldn't do that. Now, if the windows were broke out or something like that, that's a different story, then we do board them up.
Well, I just think, like I said, this gentleman was responsive, he did call these things in, he did try, and he got nowhere. Well, like I said, it took him 6 months to get the grass cut, but I have that same problem, trying to get some of these lots cut. It's taken me 6 months too. We just have to be more receptive to these people and give them some better answers and try to get some of these resolved. Because I can't believe that if the people that own that had insurance or some type of, it sounds like they had insurance because he's dealing with the insurance company.
I can't answer that question.
anything else?
Nope, I think that's enough.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll just be very brief. We can be responsive, we can answer questions. People aren't always happy with the answers they're given, and that makes them unhappy in the long run and think that we're not being responsive and we're not answering their questions. That doesn't mean that that's the truth. And I agree that that is not something I would want to live next to. And the unfortunate part is, being in the property management business, sometimes it does take longer to get the approvals to do things. There again, we're not allowed to just walk up and start nailing into a house willy-nilly. If it's unsecure, we can. But if there's a problem with a porch falling down, we can't until we get the proper notifications, the proper approvals. And fighting with insurance companies can take a long time with that sort of thing. Unfortunately, it is the case, and I don't know if the person had insurance or not, but we do have to take the tact that we hire professionals to monitor such things, and the answers they give are what we have to count on. So it's no different than dealing with an attorney who gives us an opinion. We pay the attorney for their opinion. We may not like what they come back to us with, but it's the opinion that they have from their many years of education, their many years of dealing with the law, and so sometimes we just have to face the facts that we may not be correct in what we thought should be. With that said, I do want to thank all of the volunteers and all the business owners and all the people of Marine City for a very great summer downtown and through the town. It really was a really nice summer around here, seeing people on every street corner all summer long. And I don't believe a single time that I went out for a walk I wasn't stopped by strangers and people I knew alike that just wanted to stop and talk and find out new things about the town and talk about the things happening in town. And that's owed all to the people of the community that put themselves out there, put the time in to promote it, and to the homeowners that take care of their properties, and the business owners that are sprucing things up, and certainly to the people like Jerry Packer and Crystal that spend time promoting us in their articles in the newspaper. And I think this was one of the best summers we've had around Marine City in a long time as far as activity, and I hope we can keep that spirit up through the fall, through the winter, and again next summer. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Support.
We have a motion and support. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Carries. Thank you all.